Hello, beautiful humans. I'm reporting love today from one of my favorite places in the world, right here in my grandmother's garden in Jordan, which is my homeland. And today I wanted to talk about a topic that is quite related to me being in my homeland, which is the topic of roots and family, and what does it mean to create a conscious family or to be interested in a conscious family. Because as we all have our awakenings, and these awakenings turn into awakened communities, these are going to extend naturally to awakened families and conscious families. And so while me and Ihab are also very interested in building conscious community, which is why we have our project Utopia, one thing that has been really poking deeply at my heart is understanding the making of conscious family. And I am also a reader in shamanic astrology, and so I love to read my own chart and other people's chart. In my own chart, my Pluto, which is kind of like the shadow wound, is in Cancer, which is family, the wound of family, the wound of belonging, the wound of this relationship to the mother and the father. And this doesn't mean it's a non-fixable kind of trauma. It just means that in that particular place, there is definitely space for healing, growth, evolution, and understanding. And actually, me and Ihab have the same Pluto in Cancer. So when it comes to conscious family, it took me a lifetime of reflection and questioning and learning and observing to truly land on some insights, which is what I wanted to share with you today. And the first of these insights is understanding what is a conscious family and how is it different from a non-conscious family, a normal, unawake family, which I think most of us are a part of. And this is just the nature of awakening, right? Because you come from a place, and if you are awakening, it means that you were not already awake. You were not born in an awakened community, society, family. And what does it mean to be awake in the first place? That's a whole other topic. But let's just assume that being awake means being more conscious, being the creator of your own reality, being really aware of your traumas and wounds, and very emotionally intelligent in navigating what happens in life, and participating in creating realities with other people as souls. Not just as roles or societal, let's say, programs, but really questioning and diving deep into the essence of what it means to be alive. Now, I'm sure we all have our own different explanations for what awakening means, and probably from one day to the next, they're going to change. But let's start with that as a starting point and ask ourselves, what is the nature of this awakened family that you talk of, Madiha? Because you know what, I'm here thinking out loud with you, and it's so funny. Every single time I think, okay, today I'm gonna plan my videos, I'm gonna have some kind of clarity on where I want to go, and I usually don't. I just have a topic that I'd like to share about and think about for myself, and here we are. So one of the things I'd really like to talk about when it comes to conscious families is some of the values that would really shift the way we operate and create a family. So for me, one of the biggest values in my life since my awakening and since I shifted my whole life and lifestyle was introducing the value of connection. Connection to self, connection to others, connection to the truth, connection to love, but also connection to pain. Just connection. Being awake and creating conscious family means creating a space where deeper connection can be experienced in the container of a family. And eventually that's what a family is. It's a space, a safe space, a container that you create with a group of people that you've been kind of chosen by and have chosen to create an alternative reality, an alternative home. And for me, the word alternative is so big because in truth, we are all unique beings. So unless we are creating alternative realities, then we are not tapping into the uniqueness of our truth, of our soul. So creating alternative communities, alternative family means tapping into connection, tapping into how it is that you relate to yourself, your body, your emotions, your soul, and how it is you want to relate to your children or your parents or other people in the family. So exploring what that question means for you is more important than having answers. It's not about saying the way to create connection is to, for example, engage in a tool called nonviolent communication. Now, you can do that. You can learn about that. You can go deeper into that toolkit. But my point here is considering what is your relationship to connection. In my family, there wasn't much connection, not out of bad intention, but I would say out of ignorance, because my parents were not awakened. So they did not have the toolkits, the experience, or the desire to create deeper connection with themselves or with us. It was more about, let's say, playing out certain roles. I am the mother, I'm the father, I'm the daughter, and then playing out the hierarchy of that. And so that really does not give space for authenticity, for expression. And that's the thing, connection is this umbrella that receives all of these energies and fuels. Authenticity is a big one. And that also leads me to the second value, which is the value of unity. Now, a family is about unity. You have to create this unit. It cannot be a space where everybody does not meet. And yet, with that unity comes another important value, which is the value of diversity. And that's one of the paradoxes that play out in this container, which is while you are creating the container, the oneness of a family that stands for specific values or dreams or lifestyle or this or that. There's a woman, for example, I follow her YouTube. Her name is Ellen Fisher. I love her channel. And it's all about their family that lives in Hawaii and eats vegan food that they plant in their own garden. And so the values for this family, for this unit, is so core. And yet, at the same time, there's the diversity. Each child is so different. Each child has a personality. And one of the ways you weave the connection into the diversity is asking questions that will probe at the diversity of the soul, of the being that has come to be a part of your family unit. And that's the only way you'll be able to create unity, because if people are not feeling heard or seen or cared for in the way they want to be cared for. And again, this comes down to languages of love. Maybe your way of showing care is by acts of service, doing things for people. And somebody else's language of love is touch or music or emotions. So it takes a whole other level of emotional intelligence to start to be curious about this container so that we can mold a new generation of conscious and awakened families. Now, this video, I would say, is just opening that conversation based on some realizations I had. First, as I mentioned now, with some of the values that are really important to bring into a family unit, two of which are a paradox. And also by reflecting on what the shadow of a non-conscious family is, right? So when you're not actively participating in creating a conscious container, an emotionally intelligent container, then what is the shadow? What is the pain, the price that you pay? One of the deepest prices we pay in the families we live in and that generations have created without the sense of connection is loneliness. You have children that are really disconnected from their parents and parents that are really disconnected from their children. And without this connection, a child cannot really thrive. He might be provided for, he might go to the best schools, or she might go to the best schools. But if one's inner life is not acknowledged and honored and really held in that container, then a really deep loneliness comes out of that. And so that's why you'll have a family and a unit and a community, but you'll feel so alone. And so one of the diseases of our time is loneliness. And that's why creating conscious containers, communities, and families is a really big part of the medicine to heal loneliness, because we don't need it. It's not in our true nature to live so far apart from one another. And there's no shame in what we're feeling and what we desire and what our needs are. It's just a matter of learning how to connect with ourselves in order to create that. Because when you create a family, you're a leader. So it's like being a CEO of a company. You're like creating this new space for a new family, for a new family tree, for a new lineage, for a new community, for a new society. It just ripples out. And so it's really, really important to consider that the shadow of not doing that is quite deep. Another shadow that comes out is addiction. Because when a child is not cared for in that way, when that connection is not created in the family, then the members start to make up for that emptiness by starting to participate in addictive behaviors like food or drugs or this or that. So anytime you see someone that has an addictive pattern or issue, it's probably because something is off in their life, whether it's their family or their community or their work. And so instead of just looking at the outcome, really, what is the root of that shadow? It's disconnection, it's unconscious families, it's needs unmet, it's emotions unseen, unheard, unsung. And finally, one of the deepest core wounds of this is the wound of numbness. The wound of numbness. So the family is like the training ground. Before you go to school, you are learning how to be in this world. And if you are not learning how to be connected to yourself and to others and to your own emotions and to the emotions of others, then what starts to happen is layering of your emotions, numbing of your emotions, whether it's through food or other behaviors. That's the later stage. The deeper stage is just you don't want to feel anymore. You shut your heart. You disconnect. And this is what we see all around us. People who are numb, who are addicted, who are lonely. And all of this because we were not taught to create conscious containers and families. So there's a big price to pay for not starting this conversation, for not figuring out how are we going to create more unified families that celebrate diversity and celebrate uniqueness and authenticity and expression, and are not kind of Hitler-esque training grounds to create molds of the same human, because we're all different. And we have to get ready as mothers, as parents, to receive whatever soul chooses to come and that we've chosen on a higher soul contract level. And so if you judge or have expectations about who your child's going to be, or you reject whoever comes, then you're going to create such a deep blockage in the energetics of your family. And I'm sure if you're here today, that's not something you want to do, right? So the main thing that I wanted to bring into this video today is the importance of your internal life, of interiority, of making sure that in your family unit there is space for emotions, for the interior life of your children, for your own interior life as a mother, honesty, truth, vulnerability, communication. All of these values are moments that you will have realizing, oh, I need to communicate more. Oh, there's a trigger here with my child. Oh, there is a fear here. And the more we learn to just connect with whatever arises and to express and feel vulnerable and safe to create that connection together, then the stronger that family unit will be. And as long as we do not commit to truth, to honesty, to unity, to diversity and connection, then we're going to keep creating what we're seeing in the world today. Disconnected families where the children don't know their parents and the parents don't know their children. And they are more a family by biology than a real family unit, which is a unit, a space where you go and feel safe and feel whole and feel held and feel seen and heard and loved. And this is one of my greatest passions, because I really suffered with this, not just because my family was not necessarily very emotionally intelligent, because they did amazing in many other places. They just did not have this awareness of emotions. But also in terms of communities, having to move every 4 years when I was growing up and really struggling to find belonging and really struggling to find connection. And now I know it's because I didn't know how to connect with myself. I wasn't taught how to connect with myself. So that is the greatest gift I can offer my children when the time comes and they are born, to teach them how to connect with their emotions, to teach them how to connect with others, with me as their mom, with their brothers, with their friends, to express their truth. Because if they do not express their truth, if they do not know their truth, then they can never be themselves. They can never bring their gifts to the world. And after so much soul work and searching and yearning to find that outside in the world, I finally know it's something I find within myself. And so this is something I wish I learned when I was 3 or 4, right? But of course, I had to go through my journey in order to get to where I am. And that's why I'm very, very excited to be here with you today, to inspire you to think about these questions, to think about the container you want to create or are creating with your family, and to realize that family is just one unit. Community is another extended unit. And this is something that we are doing day to day today here in the Awakened Women community. Now, in my upcoming course, the Awakened Women Initiation, which I do only once a year, we go deeply into the web of belonging, the web of community, by going deeply into those places within our own soul, our own journey, the places we've never expressed before with a community of other people. And for the first time, unraveling who you are within a safe space of women. And this, it's my honor to bring to you. If this is something that interests you, just add your email to the link below so that when I announce the launch in May, you'll be the first to hear. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then make sure to tag a friend and subscribe to my channel so that we can keep growing together as a community, learning more about life, about awakening, about our womanhood, in order to be the goddesses we were born to be, to create realities, not just babies and families, but whole realities that come from this internal place of knowing within you and within me. And today I honor that place of knowing within you. I truly, truly do. Have a beautiful week, and I'll see you again.